If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. No, wait. It's free. There's creation tools that allows you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. No, wait, did you hear me? It is everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
How many of you all like sports? Basketball, football, baseball, hockey, bowling, whatever, sports car racing, whatever it is. Well, on this episode today, we will discuss sports and contracts and the money involved. Stay tuned. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Grace Talks with K and T. I am T, and tonight, or today, I should say, K is not here. We ask that you would continue to lift her up and her family as they endure some family emergencies that they're dealing with. But just please, I'm asking that you would send some well wishes and some thoughts, positive thoughts to them as they endure. Today's episode will be a great one, and I'm excited because I have a wonderful co-host that will be with me in this discussion of sports and the business surrounding it. I look at this person as a great mind in business, a great mind in consultation, a great mind in inspiration, and a great mind in motivation. And so, with no further ado, I will begin by introducing our co-host for this episode, Mr. Derek T. Come on and say hello, Derek, to the people.
Hello, people. Hello, people. Hello, Terrence. Thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
Oh, man, I'm so excited. It has been a very long time since we have connected, wouldn't you say?
Well, yeah, but that's the beauty of real friendships. It's not how often you keep in touch because, we go weeks, months, or whatever without talking to each other and pick up the conversation as though we hung up yesterday.
This is true. This is true. Derek, how are you doing today?
I'm well. I'm very well. I'm very well.
You're excited about all that life has in store
Ev-
for you?
Every day, every day. Well, I've been through some things recently, and God has prevailed, stayed under grace. Sometimes, but it only reassured me in my faith and grew my wisdom because you don't get to know Him until you go through some things. So until you go through some things, you really don't know Him. So I'm just blessed to know Him on the level that I do, and I'm looking to increase it every day.
And see, this is why people, I tell you, this guy is the uh, perfect in every capacity, because that is a beautiful segue for me, because we want to get to know Derek. Okay, so first of all, I guess let's deal with, when did we meet? Uh, I'm going to say that must have been about 2001. wouldn't you say?
What
2001.
that the NCO days or something? It was
Yes.
that. Yeah, yeah. I was in sales and you were in admin. Yeah,
Yeah, I think that was probably about 2001.
yeah.
And I stayed there for a solid year, maybe.
Okay. Okay.
You, on the other hand.
Well, that was in my wheelhouse. I was there for a minute until through the transition where the company merged with NCO and Milliken
Okay.
Michaels and things like
Okay.
that. That's just part of the collection industry and things like that. 6 degrees of separation. Anybody in the industry started with someone or worked with someone associated with Milliken and Michaels.
Okay. So
Okay.
so NCO where we met was, I guess, in the metropolitan area maybe
In Metairie,
of
yeah. It was
of
in
New
Metairie.
Orleans. Okay.
Yeah.
So you a native of
Yeah.
Louisiana or New
Yeah.
Orleans?
I was born in New Orleans, yeah, and after graduating high school in '74, I'm dating myself, but
Hold
the
on. We
university.
don't we don't want to skip too fast because I want the people to know the story.
No, no, and
So you were
what happened
born in there
in
in
New
New
Orleans?
Orleans,
Yes.
uh, around about
Uh, oh, 1956. Yeah.
hmm.
Yeah, I just turned 64 in May.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Sounds
So
uh, so you don't look like, you know, you're the
whatever,
age.
whatever.
So
I'm a
there's
cash.
the grace.
I'm
There's
cashing
the
the check
grace.
anyway. You can say you can be as complimentary as you want. I'm cashing the check.
Yeah. There is the grace.
Okay.
So are you a public school student or
Well,
graduate?
in New Orleans, I graduated from Walter L. Cohen Green Hornets, and then the University of Arizona sponsored me to study abroad with Up with People, and out of Tucson, and we toured Europe, doing a musical and living with host families and the total submersion concept of life at 18 to live with families in different countries, 15 countries, almost 80 cities, and live with host families in just about all of them. There were a few places that at the time, be it for political reasons or religious reasons or whatever, there was some tension. So, say for example, in Belfast and in Ireland, we weren't able to live with families. We were housed at Queen's University or something like that.
So you went abroad from the city. Let me ask you this. Did you play any sports throughout your childhood, adolescent life, young
Like
adult?
I played with we had the Nord Recreational League at the playground league, so to speak. It
What
was
does
called Nord.
NORD stand
New
for?
Orleans Recreational Department or Recreation Division, something.
Okay, okay, all right.
NORD, Nord. So I played with
Shout out to NORD.
yeah, played in the Calio Projects. Hey, if anybody ever know anything about that?
Hey!
But yeah, I played as a kid and in junior high school and in high school. But that was
Wait,
just
wait,
fun
wait,
to
wait.
me.
I don't mean to cut you off right there, but you kind of glistened over that. So you played basketball, is that
Yeah,
correct?
yeah.
Okay, well let's mess with you. You say you played in junior high and high school or whatever at,
Uh-huh.
I don't know, some school that's
hmm Coin
really
and
not no. Oh, Coin.
University, yeah, and University of
Mm,
Arizona. Well, what you're trying to cast aspersions on my physical prowess? I know. So get it out.
Coin. And what was the mascot for this
The
school?
Hornet, the Green Hornet, the Green
Because
Hornet.
you know you said like I'm supposed to know
As you
and
should.
recognize about,
Oh, you
man,
should. You should.
it was about the Mighty Mustangs. That's all I got to say. That's
Please, please, please. Well, even if we went to the same school or if we went to rival schools, we went 20 years later, different than the other one. So we can hardly. Alumni is one thing, but this is like the Hatfields and the McCoys. After a while, we just got to let it go. Okay.
okay. Okay. Well, see, as we continue, I just want to say this. You know, I was looking at one of my fellow alumnus picture on social media,
Mhm.
and it said uh, 25 years and growing, or 25 years and something. And I said, it finally dawned on me that we were actually, this summer, we're actually celebrating 25 years anniversary of our high school graduation.
Mhm.
So it did something to me emotionally. Could you actually recall what that number is for you, Derek?
What, as far as my graduation reunion? I think we just did our 40th. So, but thank you for playing, and watch your back going home. That's all I can do. Okay, but yeah, and we just had a Up with People reunion in Tucson this year. And last year, it's every 5 years, but we do try to get together annually. But it's a bigger event every 5 years.
Okay.
But so we have my graduating class was comprised of kids from 15 different countries. So it's very cosmopolitan, but we all still stay in touch and support each other, and vicariously be part of each other's lives by the wishing of happy birthday and condolences when it's appropriate and things like that. You just don't lose those kind of things, because oddly enough, as old as we've gotten to be, to all of us who are part of the touring program and part of What With People, the program, it still resembles some of the best times of our lives, some of the most quality time, developmental, as people, when you're 18 and 19 years old, you just graduated high school, because I left New Orleans to go to Belgium the day after I graduated from high school. So when everyone else was going home to going out to party and everything after graduation, I went home and packed, got on a plane for the first time the next morning, and flew from New Orleans to New York, and New York to Belgium. And that's what started the career.
So let me ask this on the footnote of that statement. Did your love of the sports start early in life? Were you introduced early in life, or was it that as you grew, something just grew on you?
I like playing sports sandlot. With the
Right.
kids, the camaraderie. I never had any illusions or any dreams of becoming a professional ball player.
Mhm.
That was not even a dream. Okay. I wanted to be able to compete on a larger scale than that. I wanted to be part of academia. All right, and that was the dream they were giving everyone, that they were selling. Go to the NBA and things like that. And statistically, is one out of a bazillion that gets to do that. And even with that, the odds are still stacked against you. Why not? I don't know if it made other people nervous if our attention was focused towards more of academia and being formally educated than dribbling a ball or whatever. Not that I don't recognize and appreciate those talents. It just wasn't for me. That was not how I was going to get out of the projects.
Okay, that's understandable.
Yeah,
That's
I got
understandable.
out, but I got
But
out on a scholarship, not for music.
okay,
I mean, on a
okay,
scholarship for music, but it was a minor in music, and I got to pick my own major.
okay. So music is a part of your life as well. Understood.
Yeah,
And I'm sure on a future episode we're gonna have to have you back to
yeah.
be our in-house
Music is.
musician.
Oh yeah, I'll get you a theme song or whatever. But I would be more suited toward a musical topic than a sports topic. I
Understood.
played, I was proficient, but it was never a dream, a goal, or anything a
But
part of my life.
well, let me ask you this: did you have you played basketball, but did you
Yeah,
have a favorite sport? Was basketball your
basketball was my
favorite
favorite
sport?
sport. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Well, since you said that, you're gonna say that you have to have had a favorite team, right?
Yeah, favorite players.
Come on,
with my age, I
favorite
come from the
team,
Dr.
favorite
J area.
players. Come on,
76ers, Dr.
come with
J.
it. Come
Okay.
with it.
Dr. J, back when he was number 6 and all, was my guy and things. And then, I lived in Los Angeles and worked in Los Angeles for 11 years and things. So I got to see the Showtime with the Lakers, with Magic and all of them running up and down the court, Magic and Cooper and Kareem and things like that. So, yeah, I went from, but the doctor, as long as he was playing, he was my guy. Okay. Dr.
Okay.
J, Julius Erving. I don't care if he played against King Kong, I was betting on the doctor. Okay. But that's just how it went. But yeah, that was my favorite player, still is. I respect him as what I know of him as an athlete, as a man, as a father, and as a husband. So he seems to be. You never had any tabloid things about him or anything like that. He's been a class act for a long time.
Understood. Well, we appreciate the background on Derek and his sports life. But right now, we're going to go ahead and take a break. When we come back, we'll move into our first segment dealing with the business of sports. We'll be right back. Okay, we're back. We're back on Grace Talks, and our special guest host today is an old friend of mine, Derek T., whom I met in New Orleans, and we've just been friends for 19 years. Very, very good friend of mine, great brain, very inspirational, very scholarly, very motivational even at times. And one day I'm sure that he'll feel comfortable in sharing his story. But today we just wanted to have a little discussion on some recent events in sports. I'm not sure how many are aware, but I guess by now, if you are a sports fanatic, you probably are aware that the quarterback for the Kansas City Chiefs, the Super Bowl winners of last year, recently signed his contract extension because he still has about 2 years left on the current contract. But he signed a 10-year deal extension with the Kansas City Chiefs. How about that, sir? 10 years. I believe it, and looking at the numbers, it has the capacity or the possibility of reaching up to $503 million. $503 million. And as we look at the stats, we show that it is the largest contract in sports history. Derek, you've been around for a while. I'm pretty sure you know.
Thank you. You have one more time to refer to how old I am before I come through this line, okay?
Pretty
Why
sure.
Why are you calling me?
Oh, I'm sorry. I think my phone may have decided to have a mind of its own. I apologize.
Okay, very good.
Okay. Because I wanted to hear your voice double as, I don't know.
Yeah, in stereo. I got you.
That fell. That joke fell. Okay. But he has a signing bonus this year of $4.5 million. His base salary in 2021 will be $990,000. 2022, 1.5. 2023, 5.5. 2024, 2.5. 2025, and so on. By the time he gets to the last 2 years of the extension, sir, get this. His base salary will be $27 million in 2030 and $38 million in 2031. Now, as you said as we were on our conference call, yeah, but that's all due to certain. How did you put that? That's
well,
all
there's certain
connected
components of it, the signing bonuses and all of that. It's a lot of money. And when you start talking about that kind of money, my take on it, because I'm not what you would call a sports fanatic, I am only a casual sports fan. Okay, I follow the Saints when in New Orleans and things. So I appreciate the sports. I don't know all the statistics or who plays and for what team or how long and things. My interest or what tweaks me with this contract that you're talking about, and any contract of this size, when people come into this kind of money, it's they're blessed to make this kind of money. I'm more interested and I'm more pray for and I'm more concerned about what they do with the money. Well, how do they
As well as
manage
their
money?
health, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I'm just talking about, yes, they want to be healthy. I'm talking about if they just had the money and it wasn't a performance based kind of thing. Let's say you got $503 million and that was just yours. It didn't matter if you got hurt or whatever,
Okay.
that's your money. My interest and my concern is when these young athletes and especially young black men come into these kind of monies and things, they're novice or have no experience at money management or investing or
Mm,
actually making the money work for them. They
this is
work to
important.
get the money. They work to get the money. They have the talent. They come up through the projects or wherever, and they develop a multi-million dollar talent. They get an agent to get a multi-million dollars for it.
Hmm.
Okay, but then the last step of that is what do you do with it? So before I'm interested in signing bonuses of 140,000 and this, I don't care if it was a million. What are you gonna do with it? What are you gonna do with it?
Well, I'm pretty
How are you
sure.
gonna?
I'm
Yeah,
pretty
people
sure,
will
sir,
tell you
that
how to
his
spend it
his agents are excited about that money, and that be when you get to
because they're
those
excited about their money. They're
right, and
looking
that's what I was
at
about to
their money.
say. When you get to numbers like that, you have to have built a team of experts
No,
to
that's not
advise.
true. I don't think that's true.
No,
I don't
okay,
think that's true because for so many years, maybe it's more true now than in latter years or in earlier years. Say,
hmm
for example, like my favorite Dr. J and things when with his money, which was not nearly what these guys are getting paid right now, but Dr. J owns a Coca-Cola bottling plant too.
okay,
Okay, I'm talking about Magic Johnson owns the theaters and all of the
hmm
things. He did other things. From a investment and entrepreneurial thing. I just
Starbucks,
don't want to see these guys get this money and all they get to show for it is a big entourage,
okay,
a bunch of Klingons, and going to the clubs and chartering a jet and all of that kind of stuff. That that is how you hear about a guy or a person who had a $503 million contract and 4 years later or whatever, because of an injury or whatever, bad investments, wasting monies. Instead of having professional people around them, they had their Klingon friends and things.
well,
And
well, that's what I was getting ready to ask you a question. So many people have said um, you have the pros and the cons, and
mhm.
we're going to get into some other pros and cons. But do you think that the contract? I understand where you are personally, but in a general sense, do you think the contract is impressive or not for a 21, 22-year old, 23-year old?
The contract would be impressive for an 80-year-old or 40-year-old. Those numbers are impressive, whatever age you're associating it with. It's an impressive contract. Um,
And all of it, and as I read through the notes, all of it is not guaranteed,
oh,
as
heck
you
no.
were as you were leading to earlier.
And some of it is performance based. You have to have rate at a certain level in it within the NFL. It's like defensive ends or whatever got bonuses for so many tackles and making so many sacks and things like
Okay.
that. So they're performance driven incentives. They're the moral clauses to the contract. He can have all of that and do one stupid thing and be in violations of the moral clause, and everybody drops him like a hot turd. It happens. So to come into wealth with no experience on how to deal with it or how to handle monies and things, because the kids, and it's been said for years and years, this isn't a new brainchild solely of mine. I've talked about this with friends over the years. But when you come through the projects, or you come up in the inner city ghetto and things, and you work at your craft, but now all of a sudden you're a millionaire and you don't have a clue as to what to do with money.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All you know what to do with money is call the boys, call everybody that you know, and think. Now, I'm not saying that's all the time, but I'm saying that's a common occurrence. Some people, when they have a good foundation, a support system that will direct them to diversify, save their monies, even curtail some of the actions and impulses they may have to things. So it's more. You not only have to have the talent to get the money to be worth it, and that's a whole nother story to say to discuss whether an athlete is worth $503 million and teachers are using their own money to buy school supplies.
Well, I was just getting ready to say, add 2 points to that. Number one, I was speaking to one of my godchildren today, and I was sharing with her about an investment app.
Mm-hmm.
And the investment knowledge. She's also in an investment group with me. She is 21 now. So I made sure, this is one of the older ones, I made sure that she was able to grab hold to that, just as you're speaking now, that investment knowledge at an early age. And she made the comment at first. She was like, well, I don't like that. But it was because of what you just said, the lack of knowledge about the specific
Mm-hmm.
program.
Mm-hmm.
And so I broke that knowledge down to her about it and expressed how it's a long-term investment, the specific program that I was sharing with her. And when I broke it down to her and explained it, then she was like, oh, okay. So
Okay.
I too agree in the word that you said, that when you get, really it should be before you get money, but if at any given time an athlete or any person gets their hands on a large sum of money, they should be provided the knowledge on how to break that down. Shout out to our investment group with Dr. Raphael Spiller and all that he's doing with our mentorship. So definitely watch this. You want to talk about starting people early. He
Mm-hmm.
has just added to our mentor program a junior mentorship program that allows youth between 11 and 17 to practice investing, or
Mm-hmm.
foreign trade, or learning about stocks, all those things. You know what I'm saying? How
All right.
many
Yeah.
programs do we have out there, you know, that I heard Kevin Hart going into the inner city with Chase to do the exact same thing. So how much more should those young athletes, even, especially athletes, get that knowledge, like you said. Okay, so now you playing basketball in junior high, you playing in a neighborhood league, you playing in high school, partially in college, whatever. How much more would your life have been impacted, to say, whether I get a job, whether it's a student loan, whether it's a grant that I get a refund check or something, what to do with this money?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Because we're novice when it comes to that, and we didn't have a lot of times the frame of reference of knowing anybody to give us an example on what you do with money
Yes.
and things. I was fortunate enough, it was later in life, though, after I was a grown adult, to meet some pretty affluent people and things, and get to a little exposure to their world and things. And everybody, regardless of how much money you have, there's always problem. But there was never any emphasis put on learning the basics of managing money. Okay, you had to make practice, and you knew what it take to win the game and to prepare for the game. And when they're when they were telling kids, don't worry about taking the tests. I'll talk to your teacher because I want you to be ready for the game that we're playing Sunday against the big rival cross town. They're not saying getting him an excuse to study or anything. They're robbing him of his education
Right.
to develop his prowess academically. Don't worry about reading, writing, and all of that. Don't even worry about your grades. We'll help you take. Just go block and tackle and dribble the ball and all of that because you're the paid entertainment, and that's what we trust you to do. That's what we can see you in that capacity. Um, it was like a perfect example. Well, not a perfect example, but a good example was my nephew, my great nephew,
Hmm.
and I won't put his business out, but. Uh, uh, they grew up, the next generation always grows up a little better than the
Of
previous
course.
generation. And then
Of
that's what you
course.
want to do with life. Well, he was a big guy in junior high school, and in senior high school, he was a big guy. And everyone was steering him towards wrestling
Hmm.
and football and that kind of thing. And he did it to appease them and things. But his real focus, his real gift, he was part of academia. He didn't excel. He didn't find himself till he found the debate club.
Okay. Okay.
So now you have this black guy, a young black man, because he's 6 feet tall and 230. You only think about football. None of his counselors would talk to him about being a debate thing or any other topics. All they wanted to talk to him was sports. He went and got involved with people that he gravitated towards. So it got on the debate team, toured competitions and all of this. And long story short, he's at Harvard now, full boat. Okay. This was the same guy that everybody was trying to push to sports just because they saw black and big. It's just like if you see a tall black guy, why does 90% of the people go, you ought to play basketball?
Mm. Mm.
God, don't, you pitching.
Well,
So
I was just about to say with you, Derek, that it there are times that we allow the balance to become unbalanced, and the business side of sports takes over every other component of the person. It's fine that you recognize that I have a talent, but let me be balanced in school, because the big debate, and I know you'll speak to this, and then we'll take a break. The big debate today is, and I've heard people on both sides of the aisle of this, but they're saying, if a child, if a teenager or a young person is in college and they're excelling in their sport, sophomore year, junior year, or I'm sorry, let me rephrase. Let me go back. If they're in high school and they're graduating from high school and they've already shown this great capacity in their skill, then they should forego their college education, um, and secure their bag. How do you feel to that? What do you say to that in
what
hearing
you
that?
mean when they're being advised, or it's suggested that they forego going to college and just go into professional to get
Yes.
paid?
Yes.
Well, that's going to be that there's two sides to that coin. They know in one respect they have a shelf life. An athlete has a shelf life, and you always
Mhm.
run the risk of getting hurt or injured. Um, so they have a certain window that the athlete is trying to make their money in. That's their prime time. Okay. Um, that to me is different than let's say when you're never even given a chance, because you say, I know that the topic here is sports, and excuse me for babbling, but a lot of times that's where black people are directed, to sports or music. Okay. And it's just as much advantage taken of them in the music world, or in anything that, I mean, in the scenarios where a lot of money is generated and things and stuff. Then the vultures get around them, because you gotta the thing, you gotta have people you trust. because you need to, if you don't have anybody you can trust, you have to find a professional, somebody to watch your money, okay? And then you know what else you do? You hire somebody to watch him. Okay? You have to do that. You have to cover your CYA, okay?
Yeah.
But be it music, it's like somebody who has a voice and they get a little demo and things, and all of a sudden they sign to a label. They live in the life. They stand in the motels, they tour, and they're doing the concerts and everything. And they didn't read in the contract that all of their royalties have to offset all of those expenses.
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes around and they think they're ballers, they got a bill. Okay. You sold 1 million records and you don't have $10,000 to show for it because you've used all your money otherwise to keep up the lifestyle that they told you was just part of your being famous. Somebody's got to pay for it.
So in other words, the lifestyle made it seem as if you went wood or your project. And with that, guys, we'll be right back after this commercial break.
Okay.
Okay, guys, we're back on Grace Talks, dealing with a lot in the realm of sports and the business connected to such things. Now, in segment 1, we did deal with Patrick Mahomes. Welcome back to Grace Talks as we deal with the subject of sports and the business surrounding sports. I'm so grateful to have my special guest co-host, an old friend of mine, Derek T. So good to have you again, Derek, to just sit and relax and have a conversation.
I appreciate being here, but one old would have sufficed, okay? I don't have to be your old friend, okay?
And in continuing with our conversation, so Patrick Mahomes wins the Super Bowl with the Kansas City Chiefs, and he gets this very large contract. But of course, we have Baltimore Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson leads his team to the playoffs, and they end up with so many wins. I think they were 14-2 last season, but he becomes the MVP of the NFL. So the question that is on a lot of people's minds, if Patrick Mahomes gets this large contract after, because he pretty much did it like this. He had a good season with the team, then he took them to the Super Bowl. Lamar Jackson just finished his good season with the team, and they're considering that the possibility that he could then take the Baltimore Ravens to the Super Bowl. Now, in your mind as a businessman, D, this is where I'm going with you. What would be the expectation? Do you think that now the bar is set to where the team leader, the quarterback, or if we dove into other sports even, do you believe now that people like Lamar Jackson, who have exceptional talent, will now get the same results because of what happened with Patrick Mahomes, especially with the backdrop? And again, we're gonna branch out on this one. We're gonna branch out. Do you believe that now it's like, okay, this is the bar, so everybody following when they get their contract extension, pop, pop, pop?
What are you alluding to or insinuating that because of the tumultuous times we're in with the Black Lives Matter and all the things that has been happening, that this is part of the reason why the money is being paid, such big money is being paid? They're trying to appease the black athlete?
No, I wouldn't say that. I was going to get to the effects of those things in the backdrop and how it will contribute to sports. But no,
Okay.
that's not. I'm not trying to say that they're appeasing. What I'm saying is, okay, we have a lot going on,
Mm-hmm.
but is the bar set based upon the talent now that you can expect the super big bucks? Before it was big bucks, now it's super big bucks.
Well, it has happened both ways. Okay. You've had some guys that win the Heisman Trophy in college, okay, and be a first round draft pick and be given exorbitant contract because they won the Heisman Trophy, and they, that's a big accolade in college and thing, and it likens itself to when you hear about Kobe Bryant and Daryl Dawkins and some of the players over the years that came straight out of high school
Mm-hmm.
and went to the NBA for the money and things like that, and they got the contracts and stuff. A lot of them, a lot of people were rubbed the wrong way was because they said, granted, this guy won the Heisman Trophy in college, and you give him all this kind of money, but he hasn't taken his first snap in the NFL. It's a totally different thing. Okay. And you see some people some people even thought of the Heisman Trophy as being a jinx because some kids come out with the Heisman Trophy and a lot is expected. The bar is so high. Then they get to the professional level, and you see they won the Heisman, but they weren't getting paid. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when they're getting paid because they got a contract, oh yeah, the bar is high. But some people, by their own doing, undermine themselves. Some people get hurt. There's some things you have no control over. But I think it's a little ill spent to give a guy or give a person an exorbitant contract, millions and millions of dollars to do something you have never seen them do on the level you're paying them.
Mm-hmm.
You're paying them to be a professional NFL player, though. They have never been a professional NFL player now. And you think just because you gave them all this money and they were a Heisman in college, it has to work out. Some
Well,
Heisman trophies have been flops.
Lamar Jackson won the Heisman. He's given the NFL a good season and a half
Well, this is the
working
time
and
to
doing
cash
his
in.
thing. So
But
now my question is, if he goes into this second full season and performs, do we now expect him to be in that same ranking, or is there some race issues involved, or
I don't know that I could. Go ahead. No. I think that if he's hit all the benchmarks so far. He had a stellar college career, and he's had a good short but pro career, right? The proof is going to be in the pudding. When, and I can't even say next year or this year because we don't know for sure that there's even going to be football. Okay, so now we're talking about negotiating a $503 million contract, and you're going to get paid $190,000 a game as part of your contract, but we don't even have it scheduled for you to play game one.
Well, the NFL are trying. They have made their schedules, and I do. Even speaking of Baltimore, seems that they've set the bar with the way the audience will be with the social distancing and things of this nature. But
so they're actually going to try to use the stadium with the social distancing, and
yeah, they're talking. I think I can't recall the actual number, but the attendance number is dramatically lower than what full capacity is. So even with that, and you bring the team out, and like I said, Lamar Jackson is a phenomenal player. He was the MVP, voted unanimously in the last season as the MVP. So the expectations of his performance in this new year are very, very, very high.
Absolutely.
I'm appreciative of what you expect. My thing is whether I hit what your actual expectations are, or if I just do and provide this even at the same level again, do I get the contract extension similar to Mr. Mahomes? Is a
Well,
question to Mr. Derek.
well, the thing is, when you I saw the movie with Kevin Costner, Draft Day,
Okay.
okay, and it shows the behind the scenes stories and wheeling and dealings and some of the things that have to be taken into consideration when they're talking about drafting a guy out of college or trading a guy or this, that, and the other. There's a lot into that, and that's way above my area of expertise or pay grade along those lines. I couldn't help you in your draft picks, okay, or anything like that. But the things that they consider is, of course, how well you have performed thus far. What was your college career? Because even if you get traded from another team, your statistics or how well you did with the team is already factored into that, you know? So whether you get traded to be a backup quarterback or a backup kicker, or whether you get traded to be, or whether you get slated to be the prime quarterback, the go-to guy, it's already been slated. I mean, they know who they are. They know the capacity, and they know that they need to perform to a certain level. And that's why I think so many, they don't want kids to get lazy, all of a sudden get millions of dollars, and now they're playing not to get hurt. Instead of playing the game as balls out as it should be, they're playing not to get hurt. And part of you can understand that. And I think that's part of the reason why they put the incentive, the performance incentive in the contract to keep you hustling. Okay. Now you do have some say so as what the goal is. If they say, I'll give you an extra $500 for every time you sack the quarterback. Okay. And if you sack the quarterback 10 times, after that, I'll make it $1,000 per every time you sack the quarterback. Well, those monies add up in the course of a game or in the course of a year. And I think part of that is just to keep them engaged in the game, because in college, they're not playing for any money. They get no money. They're playing for future monies. And if you really want to talk about diehard fans, talk about college fans. Okay. People change their teams because they move portion of the country. Like I was with the Saints. I'm still a Saints fan, but I'm in Illinois now, so I'm learning about the Bears and things like that. But U of A is going to be it till I go. That was my college. Okay.
And I have no idea anything about the University of Arizona.
I'm saying whatever university. If it would have been LSU for you, or whatever, you know.
You need me to call it out. You need me to call it out because
you said Xavier. You already told me you went to Xavier. Nah, so okay, go on and get your pharmaceutical.
I'm just making sure that you understand who's repping, and it's all about the XU. That's all I need to make sure that's clear.
Yeah. Well, I hope you do well when you get your druggist degree or a pharmaceutical degree and things, and get out there and get in the world. Okay, take your pharmaceutical degree and your minor in political science, and God bless you. Okay.
Oh my God. Okay. So here now. We sit at the midpoint of the year 2020.
Mm-hmm.
And as you know, the world has been impacted by unemployment and lack of monies, as well as the pandemic, and then finally the racial injustice, Black Lives Matter, things of this nature. As we get ready to enter the 2021 season of the NFL, as well as those other sports that will begin at the end of the year, tell me, in your opinion, how you feel that these issues will impact the sport as well as the players, and how that will affect the sports arena, more specifically football?
Well, I think from a medical standpoint, the virus lays no claim to political party affiliations or geographical location. It's out there. The whole country's covered. Okay. I don't know that we can, well, I understand that everything is being impacted. Sports are going to be impacted, of course. Now, if you have to do the social distancing and for the seats, they're going to maybe get 25% of spectators as they would if it was totally filled. Okay, so if the stadium hold 100,000 people for the social distancing, they can only put 25,000 people in there.
Okay.
To space them out. So just with that, the ticket sales, if they can't pass that expense on to the fan, because we're already paying an arm and a leg to go see a football game. Okay, by the time you play for parking and all of that, and if you're trying to go to a football game that you have to pay for and you haven't gone back to work yet, where does that money come from? So whether or not you get to play in 2021, let me worry first about if I got a job and can afford a ticket. Okay, because it's a moot point for me to talk about the contract and if there's going to be a season and all that. No, let me see if I'm going to be able to put gas in the car first. Okay, let me see if I can get the mortgage covered and all that. We're from a health standpoint with the virus, the pandemic, and from an economical standpoint, the economy, people have a lot less disposable income they're working with right now. Every penny counts. Okay, and for the people who got the stimulus or whatever, and the extra $600 a week for unemployment, rent was still due on the 1st. Okay, and those things.
But you can't, in that point that you're making right now, you can't leave out the sports, the athletes, because some of them.
Exactly.
I heard basketball was very much affected, and the
everybody's
playoffs
affected, and that's why even if it wasn't affected, think about this. Even with the big contract that you hear about these guys getting it, but you can always go to a specific item and find out exactly what the signing bonus was and how much their contract breaks down to per game. Okay, so if the contract says that they get paid X number of dollars per game, and for whatever reason they don't get to play, they don't get paid either.
Wow.
Okay, so like if you're making $190,000 a game, okay, and trust me, there are some athletes that make that, but you make $190,000, you commit a foul, a technical foul, you get kicked out of the game, or you get and they suspend you for 2 games. That's 2 games of $190,000 you didn't get. Okay, it's not like you're a salaried employee and you get your money at the end of the year. I mean, incrementally. No, you get your check weekly, monthly, like everybody that's getting up going to a job. So yeah, it affects everybody just because they get a whole lot more money than the average man, and they get signing bonuses, which we never would, but they still have to show up for work. Not only do they have to show up for work, they have to be physically healthy enough to do the job. So if the season opens, the reduction of the crowd, and all of that's a moot point if the virus hasn't been checked. I think it's a moot point. Athletes won't be able to play. Now they are already a lot more financially solvent than we are, because it was stated a while back that the average American was $400 expense away from having their whole financial world turned upside down. Saying the average American family would have problems if an unexpected $400 expense came up. Okay. that's serious. That's serious. So I'm all for the monies, but and things. I have nothing against them, but it affects everybody. If you're not doing what you get paid to do, then you're not going to get paid to do it.
Wow. And with that, let's take a break. We're back with Grace Talks, our wonderful special guest co-host, Derek T. Derek, as we come to a close to another episode, I want to talk about this, and this is probably near and dear to your heart as I describe the word. I think this is something that you've probably had to deal with over the life of your professional career, athletic career, just
Music.
manhood, music career, just anything, But as we continue on discussing sports and the business of sports, I want to reference Cam Newton,
Okay.
former quarterback of the Carolina Panthers, signing a 1-year deal with the New England Patriots. For the most part, the 1-year deal is about a little over $1 million, which is the number 51 salary of the NFL, where they're saying 51 others slots or higher, with the Patriots even. And Richard Sherman was very vocal about this, expressing the fact that this used to be, of course, this is a MVP, a former MVP of the NFL, a Heisman Trophy winner. And this is what you do to a Heisman Trophy winner. Things of these nature. He was very, 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 very upset about it. Richard Sherman, who plays for the 49ers. A lot of quarterbacks are getting $12 and $13 million at the beginning of their contract, or in somewhere in the life of the contract. Probably they'll get $12 million or whatever. But I want to read a quote from Mr. Newton in regards to his contract signing.
Okay.
He says these words. And here's the other thing I wanted to also bring out. The maximum value of the contract can get to $7.5 million with a whole bunch of additional incentives given to Cam Newton. But Cam Newton had this to say: not a lot of things money cannot buy, but amongst the top of that list of things, you would find respect as one of those. This is not about money for me. It's about respect. And in conjunction with that, I give this week's grace moment that I want you to elaborate on Cam Newton and his contract, as well as this quote I'm about to give you. It says, "You can't force someone to respect you, but you can refuse to be disrespected." We're in your hands now. What do you have to say?
Well, reminds me of Medea said it ain't what they call you, it's what you answer to. Okay.
Good point. That's a very good point.
Now, and as far as the money, I respect him for saying it's not about the money. if he's in a position, and God bless him if he is, that he can make those kind of decisions and without putting money aside. He went from a respect standpoint, and there is an intrinsic value to that. I mean, respect you can't put a price on because you can't buy it with money.
But
And
he's a former MVP. He's a former Heisman Trophy winner. He took his team to the Super Bowl in 2015.
okay,
These
and
are important factors, sir.
not at all. Now, I'm not disputing those accolades. Those are his. Those are in the record books forever. No one can take away from him that he was in past years a prolific player. He was like a highlight film. You know, all the things he was doing, running and throwing. He was bigger as a quarterback. He was bigger than most defensive backs and everything. None of those defensive backs wanted to talk about tackling Cam Newton in an open field. That's like saying you want to kiss a truck. No, I don't. Okay, but so now all that to say this: yes, Heisman Trophy winner, led his team to the Super Bowl, did all of these kind of things. But what did Janet Jackson say? What have you done for me lately? Now, if you're talking about the last 2 years that he's been hurt and he hasn't played, or he hasn't played up to the proficiency of a professional standard, that's been his downturn. Okay, so yeah, he was a Heisman Trophy winner, yeah, and all of that. But what did you do the last 2 years? Okay. So forget about what I did or didn't do the last 2 years. Pay me because I was a Heisman Trophy back when I was in college. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, now when you came out as a Heisman Trophy, you got paid for that. Mm-hmm. So now after a spell where you're going through a dry spell in your career, where for the last 2 years, not to say your career is over or anything, but who's going? If you're talking about get paid for what you have done, then at least consider the last 2 years.
And you know, that's good what you just said about the career not being over. To footnote that, they're saying that if he comes in and plays well, they're looking at the Patriots winning their division, you know, and mm-hmm. then being the spotlight people. And then with those incentives, of course, they're looking to give him more money and extend that 1-year deal.
Well, sure, that's a tip. No, but that's how they do. When you don't have the last 2 or 3 years to show credential-wise, to show productive participation in the team. You weren't scoring, you weren't whatever, you weren't performing the thing up to the standards that they expect. That's why so much is put in incentives, because you haven't played for the last 2 years. We don't know if you're going to be able to last the whole year. We don't know. You haven't been hit by one of these big, linemen and everything in a minute and everything. We got to first see how you weather that before I talk about you being the quarterback for the next 10 years or the next 5 years. You can't do that. I mean, do for a year. Let's get some statistics about your and about what's going on, because up until now, your pay has been based on what you have done. Okay, you haven't done anything in the last 2 years. That's what your pay now is based on, a league minimum, with the incentives that if you perform like you have performed in the past, or like we feel and you feel that you can still perform in the future, there's $7 million to be made in the first year, and then we'll still be sitting down to renegotiate your contract. So if he has a stellar year, he can have a better renegotiation. If he comes out again and have a year like he's had the last 2 years, he's going to be on the bench, and he's going to play out the rest of his career. And he's a class act. If he's not going to get to play or whatever, he's probably going to retire.
Understood.
He started off as the lead quarterback, and he was the backup quarterback for a while because the guy that had taken his place was doing well for a bit. And so he had to play back. He had to earn his spot back.
Mhm.
And so he has to go through the same thing again. And it's the ebbs and flows of careers. It's the same thing when you're negotiating a salary for a job. It's always easier to negotiate a better salary if you have a job. Okay. So if you're on a team that's feels you're coming to the end of your career, and at some point in the near future, we're probably going to part ways because I can't keep you on the payroll unless you're producing. Somebody else says, well, I'll give him a try, but I'll give him a try. I'm not paying him for being a Heisman Trophy winner because for the last 2 years, he wasn't any of that.
I see.
So that's it. Payment,
And
you got,
the other thing I wanted to say on, and you can talk more. I like where you were going with the respect component in the other areas of life, but I also wanted to say this. It seems that the Patriots do tend to pick up players who seem to either have had trouble in their careers, or it seems that they're on a downward trend for their career. And they with the way Belichick is, if these people, most of these people have come to the team and they've been superstars in their life with their other teams,
mm-hmm.
and they come to the Patriots, and it's like a humbling effect that happens, because Belichick is not about making somebody a star. He seems, in my opinion, and I've heard other people say this, he seems to be the person that says, at this position that you are playing, we're going to make that this position is good. We're not making you seem to be a star, but my wide receiver position will be popular. My tight end position will be stronger. My running back and fullback will be balanced, because I'm making people learn to play as a team. That's what I've picked up. And so
Yeah.
I feel like the whole respect component comes into play, because, okay, yes, you wore the S on your chest as Superman, and you would always pull it off to show, all of the dramatics and the antics he did with scoring with the Panthers. But
Mm-hmm.
it's like, okay, you've done that. Wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Now bring it back down.
Yeah.
Walk with the rest of us.
It's a humble. The same people you meet going up, you see on the way coming down.
Yes.
Okay. So not that he has done anything wrong. These are just the rain falls on the just and the unjust alike. So he had some things to happen where he got injured or whatever, couldn't play up to his norm or the standard that he had set for himself. Everybody saw that and that's real. So if he gets back to playing like that, he'll get back to getting paid like that.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're looking at his
he wants people to see him that his career is not over, and to tell the Panthers, you made a bad mistake.
And with Belichick, as you said, even though they've had Tom Brady, they have won the Super Bowl umpteen times. Okay, that's and I mean they won it several years. Okay, just running. Brady has a lot of Super Bowl rings. Okay.
Yeah. Well, he's been nine times in the last 20 years.
Okay, so and that's the I think part of the respect thing that Cam may be alluding to, because when you have a team that wins that much, okay, it's because, like I said earlier, they're taking their lead from the top, from the coach. I don't care what your name is, what this, that, and the other. If we didn't win, it ain't about nothing. Okay, I'm not talking about how many people I got making over $100 million a year and all of that. How many rings did you get? That's what it's about. At the end of the year, when a person is talking into retirement, they're excited to Michael Jordan because he has more rings and he's got fingers, not because of his salary. right? He's Michael Jordan because he did what he did. He's got 9. I mean, he's got Super Bowl ring. I mean, championship rings.
Yeah.
That's his proof. That So come on, what better, more proof can you have than winning? And they did that. But Cam is going to be a great in great shape. He just has to, and I think he has. It sounds like he has accepted where he is in his life and in his walk, which leads me to the point, like in the Lord's Prayer. I'll leave you with this, where you say, "Give us this day our daily bread." Okay, just that one. Give us this day. Now, say for if you, myself, and my grandson are in the same room, and we say that prayer, and we say, "Give us this day our daily bread." For each one of us, it's the same day. We're talking about the same day, July, whatever the date is, 10th, whatever.
Yes.
Okay, July 10th. It's still July 10th for all of us. But I'm in the day of my life. I turned 64. You're 20 years younger, and my grandson is 40 years younger than that. We're all talking about living on the same day, but it's not the same day of our life. So when you say, "Give us this day according to my needs and things," because the little kid playing with the puzzle and the crayon on the floor don't need the same thing a 64-year-old man needs, or the same thing a 40-year-old man needs.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the needs are being met, and to give us this day, I often, people think of that as just food, or a limited to a certain set of things. I think it's the provision of life. Give us this day. I think that starts with grace. Give us this day what we need, and God always does that, and we just have to believe that what He has given us is enough. Cam is in the waning part of his career. It's not that he's old, but the life of an athlete, the life expectancy of an athlete, and things. So he has to make some humbling adjustments to where he is in his life, not focusing on all that he has done in the past, the Heisman Trophy. He has to also look at the realization, my last 2 years haven't been that good. And that's what this contract is about. Another chance to play, to prove how good I am, to get a seat at the table, and to go to a team that wins. Okay? That's their mantra. We win.
Well, I'm grateful.
Yes.
I'm grateful for the 1 million that I'm going to have, and then I'm going to be even more grateful for the multi-millions.
Exactly.
But the fact, the greatest grace for me will be the fact that I'm alive. I'm alive to enjoy it. That's
Exactly.
where it will lie for me. And Derek, I want to thank you so much for taking out this time in your busy schedule to sit down and have a conversation about sports, but more importantly, the business, the ethics, the family, the
Yeah.
money, the surrounding issues in life, the things that are most important, food, clothes, and shelter, that connects to all these things, and just health and the activity of your limbs, which is what they need to play any sport. So thank you. I appreciate you so much. To my listening audience, I want to say to you, respect is important. So please do whatever you have to do to be respectful, but at the same time, don't accept disrespect.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
whatever you do, whatever day of the week it is, I want to say to you, make sure you grow with a little grace. Until next time, talk to you soon.
If you have a question or would like us to discuss a specific topic, Grace Talks wants to hear from you. You can email us at gracetalks@graceforlife.com. That's grace_talks@grace-4-life.com.